Museum visits can be very useful if you want to grow as an artist and if you approach it the right way. In this podcast, I will talk about 7 things to consider when visiting a museum. Some you probably hadn't thought of. Welcome to Practice Drawing, this podcast designed to listen to while drawing. Please also check out my art flashcards. You can see me use it if you are watching the video version of this podcast. For the purpose of this podcast, I am going to assume that you want to become a better artist. The rest of this podcast will be about all the things you can get out of your museum visit, all the things you can do to maximize the benefits of visiting the museum if you want to become a better artist. So, let's start. Tip number 1, preparation. When you decide to visit a museum, you are probably going to because you want to see a specific exhibition or a collection. So do some research. Which artists are shown at the moment? What are the opening times? Is it useful to buy tickets online in advance to skip the queue? Are you allowed to draw inside? At what times is it too busy to go? Good preparation will avoid frustration. For example, you might be able to avoid having to wait for an hour to buy a ticket. Also, when it's too busy, you might not be able to see a certain works of art well. Avoid that frustration by preparing the visit. Tip number 2, bring the right tools. No matter the art form you work in, it is useful to have drawing tools with you. You need to check in advance if you are allowed to take drawing tools inside. I was once at a museum where you had to pay extra if you wanted to draw inside. In other museums, I have seen people paint inside. The rules differ per museum. Be careful with your stuff when you're there. I was actually pickpocketed once. They didn't get much. They put up a whole circus for me, one distracting me while the other stole something from me. It was a small metal box in which I kept my kneading eraser. What they stole was worth cents, so I was lucky. So be careful, there are pickpockets even in museums. You probably need a sketchbook. Consider bringing either a sketch pad with a hardback or a hardcover ring-bound sketchbook with you, as you can hold that more easily when standing than when you have a sketchbook that you need to keep open while you draw. You can rest such a sketchbook on your arm while you draw with your other arm. Pencils and erasers are a good idea. Pens can be useful too, but some museums don't allow that. Keep it compact, don't take a whole slew of tools with you. If you're standing, perhaps with your rucksack at your feet, and you have to constantly dig into your bag to grab other tools, it's going to pull you out of your drawing focus. The goal is to make studies and notes, not finished pieces. Also, write down notes in your sketchbook. As you walk around, you will notice things, you will get ideas for projects, things you want to do, approaches you want to try. Write them down, you will forget most of them otherwise. In addition to drawing tools, it can be useful to have a camera with you on your mobile or a separate one. It can be useful to take reference photos for later, but make sure you use the camera sparingly. It's far more useful to observe, to look around, to notice what you see, to be there. When you take photos, you run the risk of putting a camera between you and the object, take a photo and walk on without even having looked properly. Sometimes, very rarely, but sometimes it can also be fun to take pictures of people as they interact with the works of art. Also, check beforehand if cameras are allowed in the museum. They usually are, but sometimes they are not. Tip number 3. There is a reason movies are around 2 hours in length. We all can only focus for so long. Take that into consideration when visiting a museum. Museums, like the Louvre and the Met, are huge. You cannot possibly see all of it, let alone absorb it all. Walk through the museum first, maybe even limiting yourself to just one section if the museum is huge, to find a few works you really want to study and spend time with just these works. Sit near them, look at them for a longer time, study them. Copy them into your sketchbook, analyze them more on that later. It might help if you were able to figure out which pieces you wanted to see in the preparation stage before you arrived at the museum. You cannot see it all. Trying to is just useless. You don't absorb new information anymore after 2 hours. All you can do is walk past masterpiece after masterpiece, not taking any of it in anymore. For some pieces, you can even sit in front of them for a very long time and just look at that one piece and slowly let it reveal itself. With the best works of art, you keep seeing new things the longer you look. There is just so much to notice about a good piece. Because of that, it's much better to spend a lot of time with just a few pieces. You will learn a lot more from studying a few masterpieces deeply than by studying many pieces shallowly, casually, quickly. You get more from staying with one masterpiece for a longer time than seeing many masterpieces very briefly. Which brings us to the next section, analyzing works. Tip number 4, analyzing works. As you stay longer with works of art, draw them, copy them into your sketchbook, maybe even a few times, draw thumbnails of the entire piece, do studies of part of the piece, analyze the composition, the poses, the way the form is built up, how shapes are formed, lines and the rhythms they create, how the eye is guided through the piece and why, the story the artwork tells, the use of color, the mood it conveys, the way the marks were made, etc. etc. There's just so much to notice about pieces. Try not to go, this is good, that is not good. What does it matter if you consider something good or not? You're not going to buy it to hang it on your wall or anything, so it's not important whether you think it's good or not, or bad. Instead, analyze the work, look at it, try to imagine what the artist was trying to do. Why did he make this? How did he go about it? What works about his approach and what doesn't work? Do you think there are things that worked by accident? It doesn't matter, of course. If it works, and you can use that in your own work. How would you experience the work if it was made bigger or smaller? And the most important question, is there anything you can take away from it, something you can use or avoid doing in your own work? Make notes, write down your thoughts, make sketches of the piece, sit in front of it for a long time and analyze it. Do all of this before you read that little plaque with text next to the work of art. By the way, try to see what you see first. Also analyze at least one piece of art you think you hate. Force yourself to really look to notice, are there good things about it? Tip number 5, go alone. Going to a museum can be a fun activity when you are with friends or family. You often see friends go to museums together. I often do that. It can be a great activity for groups or something nice to do with a friend. But understand that it's that. You're spending a pleasant afternoon of leisure with friends or family away from the daily grind. But if you're an artist and you want to become a better artist, you may get more from it by going alone, as you will be able to go at your own pace. You will want to stay with one piece for a longer time, analyze it, sketch it even maybe. That's going to be a bit harder if you are with other people who go through the museum at a different, usually faster pace. If you're an artist, you benefit from treating it as work. You don't take friends to the office either, so treat it like work. It's work. You want to become a better artist. You want to study masterpieces. This is a lot harder when you are distracted by the presence of friends or family. So consider going alone. It's not really that much of an ordeal, is it? We're all introverts. We get energy from being alone. We have to be comfortable being in our sketchbooks and studios alone for hours. Tip number 6. When with others, when I visit a museum with others, I take a camera with me and take photos so I can study works more slowly later. It's not great. It's not the same as standing in front of it and studying it in real life, examining it as an object, noting its skin, which you cannot see in a photo. It's best to study art in its physical intended form, but photos can be a good second option. And being with friends and family is great too. It's just that you cannot study when you're with others. When you're with friends or family, it's about being with them and enjoying their company and the museum. And when you're alone, it can be about focus and study. It's different, of course, when you are with other artists. Then you can walk around the museum independently, draw here and there, and then you meet up again at the exit later. Tip number 7. Study the exposition design. Exhibitions are put together and designed by curators. Focus on that too, if you are visiting a temporary exhibit. The curator wants to say something with the selection of works they are showing, and also with the order in which you see them, and even the way they combine them. What is the curator trying to show you, trying to tell you? What is the story the exhibit tries to convey? Is it about showing the sprawling body of work of an artist who worked for 60 years? Do they want to show you how a certain art movement came into being? The curator didn't choose pieces they liked randomly. They selected the pieces to be put on display with intent. Put next to each other, the works of art can contrast each other. Putting works next to each other can be detrimental to each piece if they don't go well together. whereas putting something alone on a wall can make it look monumental. I once saw a museum casually cover a wall with some of the best old masterpieces. They looked like nothing displayed there, as if they were wallpaper. The museum clearly wanted to convey that they put a higher value on the art made by living artists. In contrast, I also once saw a whole building that was designed and erected just to show one work of art, an old masterpiece in all its glory, making the work of art even more monumental than it already was. How things are put on display influences how we experience them. Notice that. Works may be placed on opposite walls on purpose. Museums might consist of many smaller rooms with open doorways. I've seen clever uses of the space. You'd stand in front of a work, and then when you looked through one of the open doorways into another space, you would see another work that juxtaposed wonderfully. That was not by accident. It was designed so that by the museum personnel. Notice other things. How high are the works hung? All at the same height? How many on a wall? What does that do for you? How do you experience the work? Finally, after 2 hours you're likely mentally exhausted. You can still wander around the museum and enjoy the experience, but you will probably not absorb much information anymore. But do enjoy the experience. You can, for example, scout out the rest of the museum and see if there are other works of art you want to spend time with on your next visit. Thank you for listening.